I am Anthony Campo, um, Program Director at CAFit. My background is I have a BA in Leadership and Organizational Studies from Chapman University, CrossFit Level 1 certified, Kid certified, Olympic lifting, endurance, coaches prep course, and also with OPEX, Level 1 nutrition, life coaching, program design, and assessment. I've been involved in fitness since 2000, involved in CrossFit since 2005, 2006. And today we're going to be talking to you about the zone diet. Um, let's get into this. Why do the zone? Well, one of the phases here at CAFit we have the three phases of nutrition we have is first is food quality, and the second is food quantity. So the zone also incorporates food quality as well, but its primary focus is food quantity. Um, it gives you structure on how to eat and how much to eat. Um, and then let's move on to the next one. Now, it's been shown to help burn body fat really well, and it gives you a way to change how much you need, how much you are going to eat, um, and how much of carbohydrates, fat, and protein that you'll eat based off of changes in your fitness. So performance drops, body fat drops. You look at that, then there's specific parameters where you can adjust it eventually. But to start off, it's a great way to burn body fat, get complete nutritional profile, all the good foods. And let's go back to this previous slide. Um, Now, this is like the zone food pyramid. Your primary source primary source of food would be from vegetables, and those are carbohydrates. Fruits, some fruit, and then low-fat protein, fit chicken, fish, lean beef, game meat, things like that, and then fat. So monosaturated fat, so good fats. So obviously avocados, nuts, seeds, coconut oil, things like that, olive oil, all that stuff. Okay? And the main primary function and the goal for this is to create the proper, get the right amount of insulin in your body, when you eat your food. And Dr. Barry Sears calls it the zone because it's his belief that once you get this macronutrient profile dialed in, then you will be in the zone, which will be the optimal state of health. Okay? Not just wanting to lose weight, but overall health. And the zone works off of how to, like, food quantity off of the blocks, and it's a point system. So you're going to be allotted a certain amount of points or blocks per day and a certain amount of points and blocks per meal. If you follow a general zone prescription, your carbohydrate, fat, and protein ratio will be 40% carbohydrates, 30% protein, and 30% fat. Now, when we initially started off, when people start doing this, we recommend they weigh and measure everything just for about 3 weeks. Because then after that 3 weeks, then you'll get an idea of how much, how much is 4 ounces of chicken or beef or ground, things like that. You'll get an idea where you can eyeball it. So once you've served your time of weighing and measuring, all you need is one hand and one eyeball. But a block is a unit of measurement in the zone, and it's equal to it'll have an equal amount of measurement in. So for like one block will have of protein will have a equivalent weight measurement or volume measurement of protein. So for instance, let's talk about 1 block of chicken, which would be from the protein section over here. 1 block of chicken would be 1 ounce of chicken. 1 block of beef would be one ounce of beef. The only majority of the proteins, if they're 1 ounce, they'll all be 1 block. Besides, two caveats to that is fish and ground meats. Okay, that'll be 1.5 ounces. Okay, and then you see right here that we have 1 block is equal to 1.5 grams of fat, 7 grams of protein, and 9 grams of carbs. So what this is saying is then whatever unit of measurement, for instance, that one piece of chicken, it has 7 grams of protein. So when you go in and you get a protein, it's an assumption that there's 1.5 grams of fat in there. So what you'll do is you'll only go to the source. So when you think of food, you're going to think of protein sources, carb sources, and fat sources. So when you go and get a 1 ounce piece of chicken, it's assumption that there's 1.5 grams of fat. You know, the type of grams of fat that you read on the label on the back of Nutrition Facts. Okay, and then 1 block of fat will also have, for instance, a good example, 3 almonds equals 1 block of fat. Okay, so and then if you look at carbohydrates, 9 carbohydrates equal 1 block of carbs. So like a half an apple would be a block of carbs, 1 block. So let's say we're going to make we're going to have a 1 block meal. It'd be 1 block of chicken, 3 almonds, and half a apple. Okay. So if you throughout the day are going to have, let's say you have a total of 18 blocks, and you're going to have you can have 6 3-block meals. Okay, so then you would, instead of just having 1 ounce of chicken, you'd have 3 ounces of chicken, 9 almonds, and 1.5 apples off that example. So there's going to be a block chart that is accompanying these slides and a PDF file that will accompany these slides that will give you a list of foods that equal 1 block, of protein, of carbs, and of fat. Now let's talk about favorable and unfavorable. Favorable within the zone is vegetables and some fruit, and this has to do with the amount of sugar and insulin, glycemic index, how high that is, and also the glycemic load. Mainly the glycemic load, because the difference between glycemic load and glycemic index is the glycemic index doesn't take into account how much carbohydrates are actually in like a specific amount of serving in that. For instance, like a carrot is high glycemic index, but its glycemic load is low. So you can eat a carrot, but it's not going to give you, for its volume, not going to give you as many carbohydrates. All right? Okay, so how to calculate your blocks. Okay, so how you would calculate how many blocks per day that you would have, it says estimate your body fat percentage. You could do that, or you can get a test done. Either the best recommendation is skin fold calipers, or getting dunked. So this example has the person at 7% body fat. Okay, so what they'll do is they'll take the percentage of body fat, and multiply it by the present weight and equals the fat weight. Okay, then you'll take your total weight and minus your fat weight, which will get you your lean body mass. Okay, which would be 148 in this example. Then rate your activity level. Okay, there's you have a 0.5, which is going to be your activity level if you do nothing, to 1.0 if you work out 6 to 7 times a week. Okay? So this is one way that the diet can be manipulated based off of what you're doing to, if you see change and it's a negative change, maybe you're not getting enough or you're getting too much if you don't have a change. But this person's at 1.0, okay? Generally what we see is a 0.7, and that's about 3 to 4 days a week, okay, if you're working out. Activity level, so you'll take your activity level, multiply it by your lean body mass, okay, and then you'll get your daily protein requirement, which would be 148 grams, okay, and then we would divide 148 by 7 and you'd get 21.3. So this would be 21.3 blocks per day. Okay, so this is why we always have a baseline reading. Let's give you an example. So maybe this person, let's hypothetically they drop down to 5%, right? And maybe this number went up. Okay, this went up to 155, this lean body mass. We would have to adjust it based off their activity level to give them more food because they're having to fuel their body more. Okay? They have more body to fuel, basically, even though that maybe they've dropped their body fat. Okay, what kinds of food? Look, eventually you won't micromanage it. You'll just know that you can eyeball everything and you'll be good to go from there. Okay? Proteins sources is meats, seafood. Don't count the fat in your protein. Nuts, seeds, oil. Don't count the fat in your fats. Fruits, veggies, grains, sugar. Don't count the fat. The fat or the protein in your carb content. Like I talked about earlier, favorable. These are all the favorable. Unfavorable would be grains and muffins, things like that. Okay? Okay. One way you can continue to do it wrong is by drinking alcohol. And then don't give yourself 28 days of being strict. Okay? That means go 28 days without a cheat meal, right? Give yourself that 4 weeks to get into that zone, to do all that, all right? And then also eating crap food. Like you could have muffins and fries and things like that on the zone. You can zone block that out. Is it recommended? No, but it is possible. So instead of just overindulging into crap food, you could do that, but it's not recommended. That would be the wrong way to do it. All right, so let's move on to the optimal way to do this, okay? Now, zone paleo. Super precise. This is all whole natural foods. All vegetables. This means like no starch, no sugars. It's just all this lean, good protein and carbs and fat. Okay? Now, think about it in the sense of the way to do this is if you can't grow it, pick it, kill it, then you don't eat it. Okay? So the first part of a grain you can pick, right? But you can't pick a piece of bread right off a vine or pull it out of the ground or anything like that. So that would be the way to get the optimal amount between food quality and food quantity. Now, let's talk about going from 0 to 100%. If you're able to do that and you think you'll be successful, that's great. If you want to go all in and stay there and you know that's the type of person you are and you're not going to let anything get in your way, that's great. But, you could start by week 1 eliminating one type of food. And then for instance, let's like eliminate sugar in the first week, grains in the second week, and so on and so forth, and slowly build yourself up to that. Okay. Um, First, if it's like vegetables are too much, then you might have to wean yourself off via fruit a little bit. The thing is that it's not the best thing if your goal is to drop body fat and have great performance. Then fruit isn't going to be the best source, depending on what types of fruit that you're eating. All right, and then always mix it up. Don't get into pigeonholed into one type of, you have a specific routine for food. Like just eating beef or, just eating chicken, or, you've limited yourself into that, or just the specific types of food. First of all, mentally you get burnt out, your palate gets burnt out, but that has a connection into how your body reacts to food. If you continually eat the same food over and over again, you're going to develop intolerances to it. Okay, so try to be as broad and as possible with the types of food that you eat. So, my best recommendation to do that is pick, like, Monday is beef day, Tuesday is chicken day. Maybe if you eat fish, Wednesday's fish day. And then if you eat lamb, or make it a gamey type of day. 1 week lamb, next week Thursday would be like a gamey day. Lamb, you can eat lamb, you can eat elk, you can go find that stuff. A great source for that is Sprouts. Sprouts has a variety of different game meats. They even have kangaroo. So depending on how you feel about that, that's a great way to keep a varied food profile. Okay, and then Friday can be your pork day. And then same thing with your vegetables. And to make it easier on yourself, a good way to go is to find a zone-friendly, paleo-friendly food delivery service. Okay? So eventually, with the food quality aspect of it, you want to move to whole, like organic, grass-fed meats. Okay? So hormone-free, antibiotic-free, because if you think of it in the sense of, if those meats have hormones and antibiotics, that animal was given that, it's still traces of that in their meat, right? So every time you eat that, you get a dose of antibiotics, you get a dose of hormones. So that's one of the reasons why you wouldn't want to be eating that. Yes, okay, you could do sweets and treats and things like that. It's not recommended to always do, but if you're craving something, you're better off by eating a paleo friendly treat, brownie, cookie, things like that, versus something that's heavy in flour and things like that. Now, in some ways, you could have the difference between sugar and agave. I mean, there's still sugar in agave, okay, but it's on the insulin side, how it's going to affect your insulin. It's going to affect your insulin really similar. Okay, so you'll want to. The paleo side is mainly for the digestive health and any. It's a different slide, different topic, but the aspect of what a grain is and how it's meant not to be eaten. It gets into that, but for this specific purpose, yeah, the paleo treats would be a better scenario. Okay, hidden dangers. hidden sugars, added sugar, and you want to read the labels. Okay, pasta sauce, granola, canned vegetables, bread, canned soup, peanut butter, salad dressing, yogurt, cereal, drinks, cough syrup, applesauce, dried fruit, fruit juice, canned meats. All this stuff have hidden things like hidden added sugar and things like that. You want to search the label to find if there's added sugar or not. This is one of the things when you say no sugar is very important. Okay, so in some like there's an all natural peanut butter that doesn't have any added sugar, but it still lists sugar on the label. That's okay. But if it has added sugar, avoid it. Um, you know, especially with like drinks, okay, and sauces, right? Ketchup, barbecue sauce. Those are things that you'll want to add to flavor up your food. Um, but look on those and find the ones with no sugar added. There might be ways of making your own and things like that. Okay. All right. All right. So green beans are legumes. They produce lectins, which eaten, but when eaten, but they are low in carbs because they are more pod than pea. They are still considered paleo by most people because of this. Okay, so it's not really something to be completely concerned about. Um, Carrots tend to be higher in starch, but they're good. They're highly nutritious, and their overall glycemic load isn't very much. So um, can work on that. Whoop, I'm all over the place with this. So talking about potatoes and things like that, to rely on this, this is a good way to get more carbs without a bunch of volume. So, but don't overdo it. Don't eat potatoes every meal. But it could be something you can mix in once a week or something. So corn, just stay away from it. It's not very nutritious. It's not. Um, it's just highly modified and everything else. I mean, the plant itself was genetically modified thousands of years ago um, to become what it is today. It started long, long time ago. Um, so stay away. So if you're on a budget, I mean, it's very easy to just go buy meat, vegetables, and do all this yourself. If you start buying packaged stuff, you get a little less nutrients and things like that. Um, you know, so it can get costly, and you're also giving up money, but you're also giving up the aspect of possibly being less natural. All right, here's a list of some ideas. Trader Joe's, wild caught fish, turkey, and salmon burgers, ground beef, grass-fed ground beef, ground turkey. When you go frozen, try to be as fresh as possible. Okay, the list of this. Sprouts is a great one for the meats. There's also another meat place, Beef Palace in Huntington Beach, that you can go do. So, all right, that's all we got for you today. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below, and we wish you the best of luck.